Hi, how are you? I can't, no. Can you hear me? Let's see. Nope. Hmm. Hey, hey, how are you?
Doing all right. We just moved,
Oh my
and
gosh.
yeah, I can't find anything, so
Oh,
I, I don't have any headphones, and if I get really loud, just mute me.
that's fine. That's fine. Did you move to another part of the world or did you move just down the street or?
We moved from Utah to Las Cruces, New Mexico, so kind of far, and most of our stuff's in storage, and I don't know where anything went.
Oh my gosh. Well, good luck in your new home.
Thank you. Hi, Arlie.
Hi.
Hey, Arlie.
Hey.
Bree, we were having problems hearing Bree, so she checked out and she's going to try and check back in again.
Okay.
Gordon's not going to be on, and I don't know about Lee yet. So, nope. Bree, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can.
You can? Oh, okay. Perfect.
No, don't move. Don't move.
Yeah.
I know it's crazy, right?
Um,
You think it would be simple, but it's not.
no, I don't
So-
even know what was happening. I restarted my computer, so that obviously did
Oh,
something.
it doesn't take much to throw it all off, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if Lee's going to be here. I mean, it's 5 after, so I think we can get started because there's a lot of questions and stuff. I know we won't get to it all, but somebody want to say an opening prayer?
I can say it.
I think.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're so very grateful that we could all be here today. We're grateful for the preparation that each and every one of our group members has put into preparing for this group meeting. Please bless them with all of their schoolwork. Please bless us as we have this group meeting, that we'll have the Spirit with us and that we'll be able to have a good group discussion and learn from each other. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. So this was an interesting study, right? I don't know, in reading it, like I only read like the first, couple paragraphs, and I'm like, I'm not sure why she's even thinking of staying at this company when she has another opportunity somewhere else, or somewhere where she knew people, they already respected her, she felt comfortable there. Money, not quite sure why she didn't go, just stay there. But when you're young and you want to try something new, and thought she'd have a better opportunity there, but it didn't sound like right from the beginning. They seemed very disorganized, and it was a little bit of a mess, right?
Mhm.
So, what did you think? Like, what did you think of kind of overall of what the situation was?
I think one thing that bugged me was how impersonal everybody that she worked with was. Like even on her very first day, her boss was like, "Oh, like I wasn't expecting you. Like go read this." And when one of the people that she had interviewed with had, she saw him in the hallway or something, he didn't even like acknowledge her presence. And I know that I kind of feel like I'm kind of in her shoes, just because like I just did a giant group of interviews for an internship that I'm going to do down in Dallas. And one thing that I loved about the particular company that I'm working for is that after I accepted the offer, that all of the people I interviewed with sent me a personal email, like telling me how excited they were to work with me and that they loved me. And so seeing, I guess, kind of both sides of that, seeing like, being with a company that, everyone is super personal, knows my name, even though I haven't even started working there, and then reading her story where, she interviewed with someone and they didn't even, acknowledge her presence and they weren't prepared for her. And I feel like that culture is just not a good place to be in, like I feel I could feel for her, because I felt like she was just a number at this company, not like she was valued. And I think when you're first starting out, your turnover rate can be very high. If you don't feel like you stick with the company, why stay? And so I feel like it's kind of the company's duty to be a person in the company to make their turnover rate that people want. So
No, that's good. I agree with you. Like, one of the issues that I had, one of the problems that I saw was, and recommended was, they need a better onboarding system, right? Like for everybody to say, "Oh, you're starting today. Oh, I wasn't expecting you," and like they had no idea, and they had the opening and they needed somebody. Like, it just seemed weird that they had no idea she was coming to work there that day. You know, even HR, right? Yeah, I spent a half a day with her or whatever it was. So it was just really kind of weird, and a volatile atmosphere, right? And so condescending, and you millennials, you MBA, you don't want to work and you don't want to do this. And I was like, even from the manager, like, and who knows if they were she was having a relationship with that other guy. Nobody really knows that, but even if she is in a relationship with him, she can't let it affect the way she treats the rest of the employees, right? So I don't know. Kind of a hostile work environment was my biggest issue.
I think another thing, going off of what you were talking about, how they kind of treat it, oh, you millennials kind of thing. I feel like, I think his name was Jamie. Sorry, I'm like looking at my paper that I wrote. He kept bragging about how he just got put in this position and didn't have any marketing experience. And I feel like he kind of looked down on Martha, whereas like she had credentials. She had an MBA at one of the top 10, MBA like schools in Chicago.
Programs, yeah.
Like that's a very big accomplishment, and I feel like that's not something to look down on someone for. I feel like that makes her an equal with him, you know what I mean? And I feel like in a good team atmosphere, you can't look down on people. You have to work together, even if you are higher ranked than someone or you do have more credentials. I can't speak. I feel like when, if you are more qualified or something, that's a time to help that other person. And I feel like they just kind of threw her to the sharks and were like, good luck.
Yeah, no, I agree. What about you, Arlie? What did you get out of that?
I thought it was kind of interesting that at the very beginning, Natalie was saying that Jamie he was a coworker, but instead, throughout the case, you see that he's treating her like he's her manager, and like it's Jamie and Natalie who are over her instead of Natalie over the two of them. And so I just thought that it kind of got a little skewed, and they were both treating her really bad just because she was new. And
and it was interesting too, that first day, Natalie kept saying, I'm your boss, Jamie's not your boss, so I think she kind of knew that was going to happen, but she should have said something to him, not the new person, right? Say to him, listen, I'm her boss, you're not her boss.
Yeah, and they also treated her like an intern or assistant almost, because making her do copies and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. It's not her job.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I feel like they even treated her less than an intern. I think one thing I'm learning now, I mean, I'm not sure how it is for other people who are interning in other fields, but I know like in accounting, they really value their interns because they want them to, work there, and they're the ones that are replacing the people that, may decide to go other routes. And I feel like they just treated her like dirt, like I feel like even interns get treated better than that. They gave her simple stuff, and then even when they gave her simple stuff, they criticized her on the simple stuff they gave her,
She never got credit or praise for what she did.
Yeah, and being
as the manager, right? Natalie Follett, whatever her name was, like, what do you think her issues were? She seemed a little insecure to me, and that's why she came off so strong and whatever. So what did you get out of that?
Well, it says in the case study that she's working from home half time because of family issues. Maybe there's something going on with her family. Maybe, who knows, like maybe her husband is abusive, or maybe she's having like one of her kids has health issues or something like that. And so she's trying to overcompensate for that insecurity at home.
Very possible. Yeah, you don't really have the whole story, right? So
I think part of it for me when I was reading it was I got the impression that both Natalie and Jamie were extremely insecure of their positions because both of them didn't have an MBA. And
True.
and their degrees weren't even super related to the field that they're in. And the new manager, Bautista, whatever, like the highest manager, whatever, wanted young MBA holders. And I think that they were, I don't know, to me it read like they were maybe frightened of losing their position or having this brand new girl, or do you know what I mean? Like,
They were
saying like, oh, I'm so busy, I'm so okay. Wouldn't give her any work, and they wouldn't let her have any credit. It was kind of like they were trying to hold her down so that she wouldn't, you know, take opportunities from them. You know, Jamie gets overlooked for a promotion, and he uses that as an excuse for why he's being angry. It seems like they're putting, you know, and there's multiple issues, but one of them was that maybe they were putting their own insecurity of not holding an MBA on her so that she can't rise.
Right. And what about the CEO, right? Like he was kind of odd to me how he was strong and being very supportive and whatever, but it was kind of weird how he reacted when she chipped in and tried to help. What I mean, it seemed like they were in a little bit of a crisis, right? They were missing people and needed some, and it, you know, that wasn't well received by anybody, by Vaughn, by the CEO, by Natalie. It wasn't well received by anybody. So, you know, did you get anything else out of that? That's just what I got. It just, he was very inconsistent in the way he treated her.
I just thought it was interesting that he said something to her as it was happening, like he was thanking her, and then sent an email saying that you need to be focused on your job. And then her manager told her to just not worry about it. So she's getting all these conflicting feedback. She doesn't know what to do.
Uh-huh.
See, to me, it seemed like he was like, you have so much potential, because he was the one who's consistently like, oh, you have potential. You have so much potential. And he was the feedback for like the numbers she did for that that presentation. He was the only one who was like, oh yeah, that was great or whatever. He's like, you have so much potential. You need to be working in your capacity. But because she hadn't told anyone about the problems that she had been having, even though he asked her straight out, are you having problems with Natalie and Vaughn? Like, because she didn't talk about it at all, he's kind of just in your time helping other people that, you know, with like these menial tasks. And I think he was like trying to be like, oh, rise to your potential, when he doesn't realize that she's kind of basically bored. So why not?
Yeah.
In the department, you know, because there was no communication of, yeah, I'm having difficulties with them.
Well, and did you think that Natalie was like, do you think Natalie was supportive of her, or like there was the whole performance appraisal piece? I guess if she hadn't mentioned it to her, it may or may not have been done. We don't know. But it didn't seem like she put a lot of time and thought and effort into doing it then. So, you know, what, you know, what are the questions, you know, if I just kind of read the questions here, it's, you know, how would you describe Rinaldi, that's Natalie's, influence style, and what tactics did she use? I didn't really see her as an influencer at all. She was more like a crisis manager. You know, I didn't see her as very supportive, but.
Yeah, I don't think she was very supportive in anything that she did. Like, even when Martha went and asked her for the review, she briefly pointed out the good things and then just criticized her after that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think she was very supportive at all.
Right. And was like, oh yeah, I guess if you want one, I'll give you
Yeah.
one. You know, let's do it next week.
Yeah, like it was a bother to her.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like, isn't it the policy that you do one? So, you know, as an employee, you shouldn't be asking that. It should, you know, it should just be done, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think that she could have done differently? Could Martha have done anything differently to kind of change that atmosphere or what was happening?
I feel like one thing she probably could have done was just be a lot more upfront about things to, you know, Jamie and to Natalie. And, you know, the part where she was talking about how she was going to go talk to Natalie, but then she kind of walked in on an awkward situation. And I feel like personally, if I was in that situation, like if something needed to get done and I needed to talk to her, like your conversation can wait. If it's not work related or, you know, whatever, like if I need to talk to you, then like I need to talk to you now, you know. And I feel like she kind of hung out in the back and just kind of did what she was given. And I could definitely see where Natalie was coming from when she said, you know, your drive isn't all that great. And, but I also think she wasn't necessarily given the opportunity to, you know, fully show her potential. And so maybe she needed to go out and seek that more. And, you know, be upfront earlier about, you know, like I can do more than this.
Right. She could handle more. What do you think that she could do to repair the situation with Natalie?
I feel like communication.
She could have went in and started a conversation. It sounds like she kind of kept a lot inside and didn't really speak what was on her mind.
Mhm. I think being thrown into a new situation, like it's easy to do that and just to kind of sit back and see how things go. But I feel like you know, where at the point she is where she's having these problems, I think she really needs to kind of just like sit down and talk with Natalie. She needs to talk with Jamie, you know, that, you know, the things that, you know, aren't going well for her.
I agree. Anything else? Anybody else think of anything she could do to kind of repair that relationship with Natalie?
I think that she has a lot of, like, I feel like she has been stifled from her own, like, her own character. Because in the case study, we see that when she's at the pizza place, she's like taking initiative to build more to their website. And like, I mean, it says all these projects that she just did, you know, that everyone loved. And she just did them because she thought of it, you know. And I think
Right.
with the initiative thing, if she looked around, you know, and had the conversation, had the communication of I could do more, and, you know, maybe saw something that she could do and just bring it, you know, to them and be like, you know, I did this or whatever, to just show that she was serious about what she said in the performance evaluation, like about taking more initiative, and to, you know, show them some more of her capabilities to go along with the communication, like communicate, yes, I can do more, and then show it like she did at her last job, because she's capable of doing that.
I agree. I think she just needs to kind of communicate how she's feeling. And obviously that can be hard because I know that she's feeling like she doesn't want to step on anyone's toes and she doesn't want to make them think that she's like trying to criticize everybody else and being a downer and whatever. But communication is key, and also just showing that she does have that initiative and that she has that potential that they don't think that she has.
Right. And what about with Jamie? What could she have done there a little bit differently? I know it's tough when you're coming into a new job, right? And he was, and he's smart, and now you think he has a personal relationship with the boss, but I think the first time that somebody kind of makes a comment that makes you uncomfortable, I think you need to kind of stop them in their tracks right. I think it's okay to talk like that. You call them out on it, pretty much they know that that's not something you're going to tolerate. So you kind of call them out on it very first time. And, even if you say uncomfortable or, I don't appreciate when you say that, you don't have to get certainly assertive back, but just bring it to their attention that, what they're saying is inappropriate or makes you feel bad or whatever, then, then they most likely will stop. But at least if they don't, that you've already brought it to their attention. So if you have to take it somewhere further, you can say, I mentioned it to them already, and, they're still acting that way. So I think if she was able to jump in and help out a little bit, he seemed like he was a little overwhelmed. So if she could help out a little bit, that would probably have helped him. So I don't know if, I think he was kind of wrong more than her, but, maybe if she had stepped up a little bit more and tried to help with other things and did show a little bit more initiative, that would have helped him understand kind of what her talents and abilities were too.
Definitely.
So do you think, what are the advantages of her staying at Potomac Water?
Well, I think if she does stay and pushes through and shows the initiative and the communication that she needs to, there's still that chance for training with a more recognized company. To have that on her resume would look good, to have something that people instantly recognize, oh, I know that company. I know their marketing, I know their brand. So, that is a benefit if she can make it work. And because the new CEO, the Bautista guy, wants to promote the young MBAs, she's in a prime position for advancement if she can make herself shine. So there's potential.
Yeah, all the reasons that she went there in the first place were still there.
Mhm.
So, she made that calculated choice to go there, and now, they're all still there, although there's nothing worse than being miserable at work. So, what else? Any other advantages?
I think she basically said it. Just it helps her progress further because there's more that can be done in that company. But it's bigger and it's more recognized.
Okay. What are some of the disadvantages of staying at Potomac?
Being miserable.
Being miserable. That's pretty much it. And there's potential there, but would she get the potential if they're not letting her do anything? So she could get kind of stagnated there. So what are the advantages then of leaving?
An instant $15,000 a year raise. That's an advantage.
That's a big advantage.
I think she'd be happier in her workplace because she already knows the people and they already communicate really well. And she already has relationships with those
Right.
people. So it would be a better work environment overall.
And they respect her. They respected her and her work.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of that instant. You know, you don't always
one
get
of the
that.
things that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Hosanna.
Well, one of the things that I thought was interesting was the ways in the case study, like when she originally decided to go to Potomac Waters, she's like, oh, if I go and work there, I'll be better prepared to take a job like the other job later. And so
Yeah.
basically she wants that job, but is like not confident in her own competence to handle it. I'm like, they wouldn't have offered it to you if they didn't think that you were able to handle it, because they've seen your work. And I think that would be a huge advantage, to just have the job that you want, get paid more for it. And, you know, she's always saying that, you know, she's not challenged and she's making copies. It's like, if you think that this isn't challenging, if you want a challenge, the other job's going to be a challenge. You know, that's, want to be doing hard work, there it is for you, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen, you know, in my career, I have seen those sometimes when you take somebody who was an intern, or take somebody who maybe came in as an admin person, you know, came in at entry level and have gotten promoted to higher levels. Sometimes some of the upper management always sees them as that intern. You know, they're 10 years and they're still, you know, they still think they're the intern because that's how they started. And that's kind of frustrating. So maybe, you know, maybe not taking that job there, but thinking she'll go back, you know, in a couple of years, just coming in at a different position might just give her more credibility. I mean, I don't know, but it is interesting that you would take the lower paying job. So that doesn't happen very often. That people take the lower paying job and the unknown entity just because the brand name was better. So, you know, that was kind of an interesting phenomenon for me in the first place, that's what she did. So you're almost like, well, you know, oh, take the known entity and more money and maybe you'd be happier, but who knows? You know, we don't know that. But what are the disadvantages of leaving Potomac Water?
I feel like if you don't stay at a company for very long and that shows up on your resume, it's kind of a red flag. It makes it seem like, and if you give any sort of reason why you left that early, it's, you know, you were fired or you didn't get along with your coworkers. So it's always a red flag if you don't stay for very long at a company.
No, good, very, very good point. Very good point. You know, certainly in the first year, you know what I mean? You know, usually, you know, as a new grad, you know, any company that can, you know, you're not going to keep them for probably more than 2 years in the same position. You might be able to promote them from within the organization, but, you know, usually you're going to get 2 years out of somebody as a new grad coming in, that if you can't offer them promotional opportunities, they're going to look and go somewhere else. But yeah, for somebody to leave after 6 months, it doesn't look very well on, you know, on the resume. Could be some of the lost opportunities then of leaving Potomac. The brand, I think, you know, they had a pretty good reputation in the industry.
Yeah, I think when you work at a place with a good reputation, I think it gives yourself a good reputation that you landed that job and you were able to succeed in it. And I think she was really excited about working there at first. And the more she, you know, got into the job, the more she realized it wasn't all she thought it would be. And it just makes me think, you know, what if on that first day that they were prepared for her and and gave her work to do and gave her things that weren't remedial jobs, that she was actually able to succeed and be creative with, you know, what she could have done in the company that would have been different. But I think there are lost opportunities, but I feel like those opportunities were lost almost, you know, in the first like week that she started working there.
Yeah, I thought it was she really liked them, positive and whatever, but that's not really who they were. Like they put on this totally different face during the interview process than, you know, than when she got there. Like it wasn't very realistic, the atmosphere and the environment. You know, just the fact that that one person that she interviewed with that she was so excited to see and he just didn't even acknowledge.
Yeah.
It's kind of, you connect with somebody like that in an interview and then, you know, you start and they act like they don't even, that was really weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the end of the story, I guess I'm supposed to share the rest of the case and what happened after she chose to stick it out. So she chose to stay with Potomac Water. And Follett and Vaughn, so Natalie and Jamie both left shortly, and Rinaldi learned that, so Martha learned that Natalie was there. So
Wait, that what?
I think
Sorry, you broke up.
Natalie was job hunt like for another, for like that 6-month period of time. Natalie was out in her job, so that could be why she wasn't that invested in Natalie going to be there to reap the benefits of it later. So she didn't want to put her time and energy, or she wasn't, you know, she wasn't invested in the organ. It's hard, pumped up and positive, and it's leaving. I mean, I know when I the job that I have now, it's been just about a year, and the job before that, I resigned, and as the HR manager, I was interviewing the person that was taking my place, right? Really hard for me. It was hard for me to be very positive about, you know, I was leaving the place for a reason, obviously. Now, I had been contacted by people that I'd worked with before, and that's why I left. But I had started to look for another job because I realized it wasn't the right environment for me. It was kind of hard to interview somebody and, you know, and come work there. You know, and I said this to a couple of the other managers, like, I have a hard time asking somebody else to quit a job to come work here because it's not really the best place to work. You know, but I tried to be as realistic as possible with off. And I mean, the girl that took my place is still there, so I guess she's, you know, she's sticking it out too for the, you know, for the year that I've been gone. But you know, so if she was looking for another job, then she's not really, she wasn't really that invested with it. And Jamie too left. So I don't know if he went to work with Natalie again or something, but once, or wasn't, and then to leave too. I don't know. It just says that Follett and Vaughn both left shortly after Rinaldi learned, and shortly after Rinaldi learned that Follett had been job hunting during Rinaldi's time there. So Martha now had 2 new bosses who admired her work and relied on her, and she was promoted ahead of schedule.
Wow.
So that's what happened to her. You know, once she resigned. Once she decided to make the decision to stay there, that's what happened. What do you think that she learned about herself, Martha, by kind of sticking it out and staying there?
I think she might have learned just that, you know, if you stick with something that you know, do your best, that good things will come, and that, you know, to not give up, you know.
Mhm.
She probably learned her own strength. She was miserable in the situation and she stuck it out and it benefited her. So she learned that she had the strength and I guess the self-control to keep those relationships at least civil. Well,
Mhm.
so.
I think maybe she could learn too that like bad situations aren't so often when we're in a really cruddy work environment or just in a situation where we have to work with people that are difficult, that it's not going to last. So even if they left, you know, if she put in her 2 years and it looked good on her resume, she could go somewhere else, you know, and change the situation. So it's like either way, if you persevere, then the environment will change. Either turnover will happen or you will have the credential to leave or whatever. Like the bad situation isn't forever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and you know, when you learn something from the bad and the good, right? Like probably new people that came in after her, she was probably friendly to them. She probably tried to make them feel welcome or whatever because she didn't want people to feel like she felt before. So you learn that. I had where I had a really bad boss, and I think she probably made me a better boss than any of the other good bosses that I had because I would make a conscious effort to make sure that I didn't treat people the way she treated people. I say that like, oh my gosh, like, you know, that's what Anne would have done. And I didn't want to work that way. And I've had some wonderful people that I've worked with since then and before that. But this one person, she's probably the one that shaped me the most in how I treat other people, and never forgetting that I started out as an administrative assistant and, you know, and was able to become a manager. So I never forgot that. She forgot it immediately.
Yeah, I think that's a really good quality to have, to be able to learn from other people's mistakes,
Mhm.
to learn what you should and shouldn't do by the way other people treat you and the people around you. So I think that would be something that she probably would have learned.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Did you learn anything about yourself and what made it motivate you to work while reading this case study?
Yeah, I think I kind of did. Like, because I would have gone with the known entity. Like, and if I went to T and hated it, I would have gone back. Like, I just I was comfortable, and I was like, well, maybe that's a mistake. Like, I don't know. So it made me think more about doing what's uncomfortable, I guess.
Okay.
I think it also made me think about, you know, just like praying about where you're supposed to be, because I think, you know, God will give us answers to anything, you know, even with jobs. And I think it's important to, you know, take up that kind of question to Heavenly Father and ask Him, you know, I have these two great opportunities. Which one should I go with? And, you know, who knows what kind of opportunities will come, even if it's from, you know, somewhere with a lesser pay or isn't as well known or, you know, things like that. I think God will lead you to where you need to be. And I don't know, that's I'm at the point in my life, just trying to finish school and get a job and go to grad school and stuff. And so it kind of made me reflect on, you know, how the steps I'm taking to find a job.
Mm-hmm. No, I absolutely agree with that. That everything happens for a reason. Everything happens in its own time, and you can't fast forward it. As much as you would like to, it's going to happen when it's supposed to happen. And then you just be grateful for the lessons and the blessings that you've learned along the way, I guess. That's my mantra these days. That's for sure.
I think something I learned is that a bad situation doesn't last forever, and it also, people work really well when they are given praise for the work that they do. And so that's something that I've learned about myself, is I work better when I actually have things to do. I'm more productive when I am busy, and I work better when I get praise for the things that I'm doing. So.
Absolutely. Questions or comments or anything about the case study or what you're going to apply it to in your life or anything for this case study? I think we had some good discussion on it. And talked about a lot of good things, and it was interesting. It was an interesting case study. What are y'all thinking about what are their names? Janelle and what is that this class? I don't even know. I have two classes that are very, very similar. The young couple that are dating, is that this class? Okay. It's what is it, Janelle and Chandler? I don't know. It's this young couple that are like dating, and oh my gosh, their communication is awful. Like they have which one is doing going ahead and getting married, so it's kind of crazy to me. That's a different class, I guess. Okay, if there's not any other questions or comments, I think we can kind of sign off. I will send the link to each of you, as well as I'll post it where it's supposed to be online. Thank you for your time and comments and energy, and really do appreciate it. And certainly for your prayers for last week too. I appreciate that. My husband's doing much better, and
Good.
it's always a scary thing when you kind of just get hit with something out of the blue, but everything's good. So thank you. All righty.
All right.
I don't know who do we know who the leader is next week?
I don't.
Week after that again. So, all righty. Well, have a great weekend, everybody. We're finally going to get some nice weather here in the Northeast. So, Hosanna, good luck with your finding everything in your boxes.
Okay, see you later.
So take care. Take care. Bye-bye.